All right, I guess we're live. Are we
Hey,
live, Steven? We live?
edit that out.
Stefan? Edit that out. Oh, he left it. Mm. All right, I'm just gonna before we start this debate, let's just wait for some people to get in. Is the
Okay.
thing. I'd rather wait for
Never mind.
that. And if you guys are watching this after the fact and that you're not watching this live, just click the pinned comment down below to where the actual debate starts. So
Down in
yeah.
the doobly doo.
But in the meantime, let's talk about what we've been playing lately. Mr. Chavez, what have you been playing? Freaking phone!
Oh
Goddamn!
my god.
It just dropped. It was just like, oh yeah.
The
But let's
third
actually
time in
get
the last 15 seconds.
exactly. But let's get right into the what we've been playing. My name is Joey Ferris. In case you guys didn't know, and joining me is Andres Chavez.
Hey, you can find me
Hey,
at the internet.
at the you can find
So
me in my house.
you can find me at GPS location 28.4724218.
Is that
Just
your
kidding. That's
IP address? I don't even know.
so we were talking about what we've been playing.
Yes. What have you been
Um,
playing? I'm just
so
tweeting out
I've
the message.
okay, yeah. I've gotten into I've gotten into Fortnite.
Of
That's
course.
slowing down though as school's starting. But I've
Mhm.
been playing shoot, what was it? Hollow Knight,
Oh yes, that game's
which
tricky.
that game is tricky. I'm still figuring out where everything is, but it really is like a really cool Metroidvania type.
Mhm.
But it's all hand drawn. That's what really like
Yeah.
kills it for me. Is like it's just so well done. It's like a flash. It's like a premium like flash game look, but it's you know what I mean? Like a flash
Yes.
game style, like Newgrounds. It like
Exactly.
brings me back to 2006 all over again.
Newgrounds. Don't even get me started on Newgrounds, boy. So good.
Boy, what have you been playing?
Um. Well, I'm playing. Well, I was just playing Spider-Man 2 on the GameCube for a very special video series. Just
Ooh,
saying, I'm not gonna spoil what it is, but
a little
there's gonna be a
special
video.
something.
I'm clicking on it right now because I'm trying to get everything situated in case you listeners are wondering. But but I'm also trying to see how many viewers we have so we know when to start. We have 3 watching right now, 2 watching, 3 watching. I don't expect many people to watch this live because it's Thursday, but we've got some juicy topical topics, mainly just to debate mostly.
Topics.
Hot topics.
By the end of this conversation, one of us will no longer be alive. I'm just kidding.
We're gonna have tryouts. Is going to be great. And hopefully we'll have another friend joining us halfway through. His name's Stealth, if you know him on Twitter. But he said work has just been kicking his ass, so probably not. But if you're watching, shout out in the chat. Let us know you're here. Let us know when you want us to start the debate. Let us know when you want us to go right now, because I'm feeling hot and bothered. This boy across from me is just like throwing all kinds of shade at me.
Oh, hot and bothered. I don't like those adjectives. I prefer cold and uh in a
Calm,
fridge.
cold the fridge.
Cold the fridge.
Yes.
Welcome
Oh,
to
and
Cold the Fridge Gaming.
you got your signature drink. Oh, well, what is that?
It's the Dr. Pepper.
Oh, very nice. It's not a. Is a Dr. Let me see that
It's a
again.
Coke Zero.
Okay, I was about to say. I was
Not
like,
a
that does.
sponsor, just a damn good product.
Yeah. It's the diet soda doesn't do it for me. It's just so. This is where the debate starts. Diet soda versus regular soda. Let's get right into it. You all thought we were talking. Forget Nindies. Forget none of this. This is the real debate right now. Diet soda versus regular soda.
We always do the gaming part of Nuke the Fridge Gaming, but now we're doing the fridge part of Nuke the Fridge Gaming.
Exactly.
This is the fridge
Bam.
debate.
All right. Shout out to Maui in the comments. What's good? I don't know how you pronounce that. I've seen this person all throughout Twitter, always liking my stuff. So yes, happy to see that you're here. Hopefully you can
It's the
take.
same one that I remember. I remember seeing this fellow.
Yeah, there's 2 people that always like my tweets. There's him or her. I don't know if you're a he or a she, but 90% of people on the internet are male. It's a scientific fact. Remember this. And
Canada,
FaZe.
so
Exactly. Oh, very nice. Very nice. Yeah. So what's good, Maui? Good old Maui from the movie Moana. So yeah.
I loved
Nope.
you in Skyscraper.
What's that? Nobody saw that movie. What are you talking about?
I actually didn't think that movie was that bad. That's just not side tangent.
Yes, I
Skyscraper.
did.
It was like it was an even, like when I say a movie is a 50% on Rotten Tomatoes, or when I say like I gave it a 50 or a 5 out of 5 or 5 out of 10,
5 out of
I mean
5.
like I loved half the movie and I didn't like the other half. So
That's
50
fair.
sounds like failing, but I really mean like it was, some parts were really cool, some parts were not that well thought out.
You know, that's a good way to scale movies. It's just like how many minutes of that movie were good and how many of it were meh.
Yeah.
So by that logic, Jurassic Park is like a solid 1 out of 10 because the T-Rex is only in it for like 3 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, the bunch of dinosaurs are in that movie, but not, they're like all sleeping or like tranquilized.
I mean, that movie cost so much money to make. You know, like half the budget went towards that T-Rex.
Yeah. I mean, you know how much it costs to wrangle a T-Rex, a real life T-Rex?
Oh my god, it's just so many man hours, and it's just like wowzers.
We got NX Revolution in the chat saying, "What's up,
Hey,
guys?
NX
Hey, what's going on?"
Revolution. If any of you guys are taking my side in this debacle, feel free to come on in. I'll send you the link because we're at a 50-50 stance. It was about to be 2 against 1 in this debate, but luckily Stealth had to work. So, yeah.
Wait, was Stealth with you or with me?
He was with you. He didn't make it that clear. He said like, "Oh, Nerd Report's here. Yeah, our good old friends, Nerd Report." But he was just like, I could soften your heart about this Nindies thing. I think what he wants to do is like try and convince me in a healthy manner that this is only a good thing, when in reality, I'm really pissed off. So let's get right into it.
All right.
You're wrong, I'm right. Yes, I won.
Damn it.
Play
the Price is Right theme song. Dun, 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 dun.
But basically, these past 2 weeks, Nintendo has shown off practically nothing but indies in this regard. Lots of independent games. They had an indie highlight reel in right before Gamescom last week, and I liked that highlight reel a lot. It was 20 minutes long. It had many different indie games of many varieties, if you would say. We had games like Night Call. What else were there? The Gardens Between. I'm trying to think of what was that?
I was just saying this. I was just saying this is true. Like
this is very true. Yeah, no, it's fine. But they even announced some were even announced outside of this Indies highlight reel. There was also a Hat in Time, which got me really excited. I've been waiting for a Hat in Time. I've been waiting to play a Hat in Time since like 2013 when it was announced via Kickstarter. Took them a long time to make that game. I got it on PC, only played about 30 minutes of it because the PC port just wasn't working for me. Like I have a really good PC, but the frame rate was just not that good. And if you lower the settings, it looks really bad. But now that it's coming to Switch, I'm just like, playing on a Nintendo platform. How could you not?
Do we know if it's targeting 30 frames per second, or is it going to be a full-fledged like same as the PC?
I think it's going to be 30 because I think the console versions in general run at 30 as well. So I think the same thing is going to happen with the Switch version. The Switch version. That's just what I do. I snap a lot. It's because the game runs on Unreal Engine 3. So that's also why the developers originally said there's not going to be a Switch port. But then they said, oh, wait, we like money. Let's put it on the Switch. Because
20 million units, that's a lot of people. That's a lot of sales.
That is a lot of sales. You know what I'm saying? And what else was there? And then a week later, they had the Nindies showcase, their summer showcase. They seem to have one every spring and summer. They did that last year as well. But this one was just where, first of all, I've been feeling this way since E3 this year. I've been feeling like Nintendo's really letting us down this year in terms of AAA support in general. Like you compare this year to last year, and it's nothing. It's night and day, is what I meant to say. And
I don't disagree with you. I'll just start there. I don't disagree.
Yeah. So, but people have been coming to me saying, "But Joey, you're still getting you. What are you talking about? There's no support. You're getting Kirby, okay. Mario Tennis, Joey. It's Mario Tennis." Okay, a solid 6-7 out of 10 game. You can keep telling me that. And then you have Octopath Traveler, which Octopath Traveler is huge success, bigger success than even Square Enix thought it was going to be because they faced shortages. I have not gotten it yet just because it's something I don't really feel like spending full price on yet. Play the demo. Demo was pretty solid, but it's nothing I really want to buy right now. And despite how many copies that game has sold, I still think it's a niche game because you have those big hitters like Mario and Zelda. Those are not niche. And even Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which sold a lot, I still think it's niche. You put a person who doesn't really play RPGs or even JRPGs, which is what these games are, and they're going to be like, what the hell do I do? You need to go through this 2-hour tutorial. And, the reason why these games are selling well is because the Switch in general is just selling well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, yeah. No, and I'll get into that when I start talking about what I'm not... how am I going to say this? I'm not trying to like persuade you to think, oh no, this is actually a really great year for the Switch. I just want to provide context as to why I think things are happening the way they are, because I think this is part of a longer plan, but people are seeing it as Nintendo's like doing us wrong. Which I'll just say, they're a company, they offer products. If we don't support them, we don't buy the products. That's how they get the message across, through money, like pre-orders and stuff. That's how we get that we're not happy across to companies. I think that's the best way to do that. With EA, Activision, any of the big publishers. Nintendo's no different. Nintendo makes mistakes, but when I do my side and talk about why I think why things are going this way, I hope we at least put Nintendo in a light, like at least understand where they're coming from. Because you had a Wii U, right?
Yes, I did have a Wii U.
Yeah, the Wii U was the first the Nintendo console that I've ever skipped. And I may go back one day and like try the games out. But
all 2 of the games that aren't on the Switch yet.
So if you want to, do you want to start first, or do you want me to start first? Because I can easily...
I feel like I already kind of started. I want to hear your thoughts on my my whole like these games are still niche. And when people list these games off, they've been listing these games off to me, saying things like, "But Joey, you're still getting Smash." And I'm like, yeah, Smash is cool. Smash is undoubtedly going to be the biggest game the Switch gets within this year. I'm not denying that at all. Same with Pokemon. Granted, Pokemon's going to be very divisive when it comes out. We all know it. It's divisive right now. It's going to stay divisive until it comes out. And the people that don't like Pokemon Let's Go are just going to wait till next year when the quote-unquote real Pokemon game comes out. But they list off these games like, okay, you're still getting Valkyria Chronicles 4. You're still getting Ys 8. You're still getting... And I'm like, you ask one person any random person on the street what that game is, and they'll be like, who? What? What's a Valkyria Chronicles? What's a Ys 8? Like, I don't know what these games are. None of these are heavy hitters, say like a Super Mario Odyssey or a Breath of the Wild. And I know you can't have a heavy hitter every year. Like, I know it's not realistic to expect big game of the years every year. I get that. Yeah, but even what was that? Go on.
I mean, it took PS4 until 2015 to get Bloodborne. And before then, it was just Last of Us Remastered. It was God of War 3 remastered. It was like Journey remastered, or Journey
it was remastered pretty much. They didn't call it Journey Remastered. They just called it Journey. It was just running on PS4.
Yeah. So I totally get this year has like really been slow for the Switch in terms of like big AAA releases. And I do agree that a lot of like I've seen the list that a lot of people posted when they were responding to it. And they're talking about Mario Tennis, Octopath Traveler, the upcoming Super Mario Party, Smash, and then the ports that we've gotten so far: Captain Toad, Hyrule Warriors, Donkey Kong Country, Tropical Freeze. And I get what you're saying, that it compared to last year, like, which we got a lot of good games, a lot of new IPs, a lot of support for the Switch. This year has definitely been much slower, and I'm not saying that it's a good thing, but and I'll get into it later. But it's my whole idea of why I think Nintendo was just... they had 2 options. If you want, I could just go into it right now.
Go into it right now, yeah.
Yeah. So 2013, 2014, whenever Nintendo was starting to think about the NX or the Switch, the Wii U, in lifetime sales, I think did 13.59 million.
It was in that range.
Yeah, and it was over the course of 6 years that was available for retail purchase. That comes up to about 180,000 units per month. So and again, this is like, lifetime sales. The Wii U always had this problem where it didn't have good games. It didn't have great like launch titles, and it didn't really bring the heat like in the first couple years, which
Hmm.
slowed down system sales because people weren't really, if there's not like a no sandbox Mario or a new Zelda coming out within the first 2 or 3 years, you're kind of like, oh, I'll just wait till later, I guess. So system sales slows, which then limits the amount of potential game sales because you
Hmm.
can't sell a game without a sale system behind it. So as system sales slow down because no new games are coming out,
Hmm.
the projected sales of upcoming games lowers and gets worse because there's not a lot of systems being sold, which then reduces the incentive of third parties to make games because the system sales aren't even that great. If we do sell it, we'll be lucky if 1% of the customers buy a copy, kind of stuff.
I see.
So that was just the unfortunate effect of it snowballing and snowballing to the point where even Nintendo was like, 2014, we have our next system in mind. We're going to focus on that and get that going. So then we have rumors of the NX, we have the Switch, eventually comes out. And I think what happened with the Switch getting all its good games in the first year and then the second year being kind of slow is they had either two options. They said, okay, we went out of the Wii U, which didn't sell as well as we wanted. We're kind of limited. I think they had a lot of losses financially, which I
Hmm.
think even Wada or whoever the CEO was took like a pay cut to make sure that everyone had money.
That was a Wada, yeah.
Yeah, they realized, okay, well, we have limited resources now. I mean, we're not poor, but we're Nintendo. But we just had the Wii U kind of crap out on us towards the end. We have the Switch. We have two options. We can either push the Switch and then push out, a game every 4 months, a big heavy hitter every 4 months that'll keep us going into 2019. But we'll risk, slowing down the way the Wii U did. We'll risk people not
Hmm.
buying the Switch and it'll end up like the Wii U again. Or they go, okay, we have the resources to make maybe 6 or 7 big IPs, including Mario, including Breath of the Wild. We push them out every month if we can. So we have a decent year ending with Odyssey. Hopefully we have some third parties joining in by then. But if we can push
Hmm.
out a majority of the games that are going to do well for the Switch within the first year, that should hold us over until 2018, late 2018, early 2019. And I think by doing that, people go, okay, well, if I get a Switch now, I have Zelda to look forward to, I have Odyssey to look forward to, I have Fire Emblem to look forward to in the distant future, but we already have Octopath Traveler out. We have all these games coming out with Fortnite, Paladins, all these free to play stuff. That by releasing all the big like heavy hitters the way they did, people who are joining the Switch platform up until the bigger games come out like Smash and Yoshi and the new if they ever do a Animal Crossing for the Switch,
Hmm.
by front loading all their games in the first year, they maximize the amount of people that are going to buy the system, which then maximizes how many sales they can make down the line. I think by doing that, they've set themselves up for, because now again, the Wii U, 180,000 units average per month
Hmm.
for over 6 years of sale. The Switch has sold almost 20 million units in 20 months. That's a million per month, which is
Hmm.
ridiculous compared to the Wii U. That's amazing. So, but now they had this momentum going where they go, okay, we got 20 million people, already more than the Wii U, who have owned our system. Now, when we release the Smash, that'll drive sales. Now, when we release Pokemon, that'll drive sales. Unfortunately, they were hoping that more third parties would have joined on board.
Hmm.
But we already got Bethesda. We've got Fallout, or we got the Fallout Shelter. We have Skyrim. We have Doom already out. Did Wolfenstein already came out, right? For Switch.
Yes, it came out
Yeah.
in June, and Marcus Sellers is here. Oh joy! Oh rapture!
Hey, Mark. Hey, Marcus.
Yeah.
Marcus. Yeah.
Marcos.
So that's why I think they had to do what they had to do because honestly, I mean, if the Switch went like the Wii U again, I think
Hmm.
Nintendo would have been in some serious trouble. But
Yeah.
now that they've rebounded, because they had limited resources, I think, going into the Switch. Obviously, they're not poor, they're a giant company, but they had to figure out, okay, which games are we going to focus on that are going to get the Switch to sell as many units as they can? And I think
Hmm.
they chose right. They chose Mario Odyssey, which is a great game. They chose Breath of the Wild, which is the best Zelda game I think to ever come out since the original.
Hmm.
We've got like Octopath Traveler, which I don't personally like, but I can recognize that it's a really well thought out JRPG.
Hmm.
Like a lot of great games that are already out. it creates the platform for future games to sell more because more people own the system. And then, like I said earlier, unfortunately, it's caused this kind of divot where, now we're getting less AAA games, but now that Zelda's sold well, now they have that money to then spend and invest in new games which are in development right now, which will eventually come out. That's why you have your Yoshi, your new Metroid Prime 4, which will come out.
Mhm.
The success from those games from Mario and Zelda earlier last year and this year are gonna transfer later into the resources to make better games later on, which is why I think the Switch is going to go down as probably Nintendo's best console because it'll have a lot of great games as portability. It's just unfortunately we have a bunch of indie games coming out now, and not to say these games are bad. It's just when you expect a new system, you want it to do well. You want
Mhm.
lots of new games, and right now we're getting ports of old games to
Yeah,
fill the void.
that's the thing. We're getting a lot of ports of old games. The problem doesn't lie, I think. Like a lot of people will always bring up to me, but it's selling so well. But it's selling so well. The Switch is selling though so well. You're probably thinking wrong on here, and I'm like, I'm not thinking wrong at all. I'm expressing my preference that my perspective, at least, that Nintendo's not doing much to keep current Switch owners that happy with their purchase. The Switch owners who wanted to play more games like Fire Emblem and Yoshi right now. These games were meant to come out this year. They were meant to come out later on this year in 2018. Yoshi was just a 2018 title. They didn't even show it at E3. Like, are you kidding me? I understand, like, yeah, it got delayed. Delays happen. But at the same time, if I go up to my college professor 2 weeks after my paper's due and I give them the excuse, oh, would you rather have an unfinished paper? I'm going to get an F. Like, seriously, it's just frustrating to me that people are just listing these games at me saying, look at this, Hollow Knight, Messenger, Into the Breach, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yes, there's a lot of indies, but PlayStation 4 this September is getting Spider-Man, freaking Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I was going to say Spyro, but that got delayed to November. RIP in peace, my purple dude. But he's not going to
My
die.
purple bro. He's not dead. I mean, he's if anything, he's coming back alive. Like
he's coming back alive. Exactly. He lifted his grave up from the coffin of Skylanders. Yeah, it's pretty great. But it's just like when I look at I was even talking about this with Rogers Base and Conrad over at Commonwealth Realm. It's just like I look at the Switch and I compare it to the other games that are coming out this year on other platforms, and I'm like, my Switch is pretty much going to collect dust unless I'm like traveling or something, because people list off these games to me like the JRPGs, like the indie puzzle games, or with the 2D pixel art, and I'm just like, they're cool, but they're not what I want right now. They're not what I want. I wanted games like Wolfenstein, like when they came out on other platforms, which is why I'm very excited for Doom Eternal when it comes out on the Switch and PC at the same time. Double feature right there. Very happy.
Boom, bada bing.
Boom,
bada bing,
bada bing.
Can I offer?
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I don't even know what I was going to say.
I have a theory, and it might make sense, and it might. I think the reason why Nintendo pushed the Switch with so few launch titles as it did, and with very limited games coming out, though they're great games, very limited amount of games coming out last year and this year.
Yeah.
I think the Switch was supposed to launch this year. I think the Switch had some games ready, but if they wanted, it was kind of like too little too late. Like they didn't want to repeat the Wii U. They didn't want, the system to come out with, very few games and then slowly trickle out with these weird oddball games like Captain Toad and, Super Mario 3D World, which is not a bad game. It's just, it's a port of the engine of the 3DS game made into a full Wii U game. Not a bad thing at all. But that obviously people wanted a sandbox Mario. They wanted a full length Zelda like early on in the system's life. And they had to kind of wait for it to come out on the Switch and the Wii U at the same time. I think the Switch was supposed to come out in 2018 with, big hits coming out month after month after month. And I honestly think that they realized we can't do that. Like, we're not going to survive another year with just the Wii U and the 3DS. Maybe they could survive, but I think that would have gone over really, really badly.
It would have gone over really badly. They would have survived. Nintendo has a lot of money, but it's like you don't want bad publicity for a whole year.
Yeah.
No.
So they did what they did, and they stripped down the launch. Okay, the system's going out. We have some of our IPs ready. Animal Crossing still nowhere to be seen, but we have Mario in the works. We have Zelda coming out right now, and I think by doing that, it's kind of like, and this is going to sound like a really bad comparison, but the No Man's Sky. That game was not ready when it launched, unfortunately. That game was not complete. That was not the full vision. But what they did, though it's probably very, like, it's not illegal, but it's like sneaky and probably very, it was very divisive when it happened. But they used the money that they made from the pre-orders on No Man's Sky by releasing the unfinished game. They put that money back into the game to then finish it. It's kind of like a Kickstarter, but without the name.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I mean, if No Man's Sky was an early access game, they could have just gone away with that by slapping early access on it. But yeah,
by releasing it and it's selling as many copies as it, like I pre-ordered No Man's Sky. I bought a copy.
So did I.
And unfortunately, the game wasn't what I wanted it to be. Now it is, but that's after like 2 years and using money that people already paid. It was like a trick Kickstarter. Nintendo didn't do the same thing, but by releasing the Switch, by releasing Zelda, by timing, ARMS and Splatoon 2 and all these games, which I don't know if Splatoon 2 is a full-on sequel or if it's like a 1.5, like just on the Switch.
The thing is, man, Splatoon 2 was like, it kind of felt like a 1.5, but it also was a straight up a full-blown sequel, especially with that Octo expansion DLC, which I didn't get, but yeah, at the same time, it did feel a lot like the first game, which is fine because not a lot of people played the first game.
Yeah.
And well, a lot of people, Wii owners did, but
I think Nintendo lucked out because their strategy, I think, paid off. They've now outsold the Wii U 20 months into the Switch being a console.
Yeah.
Which now opens up the floodgates for, now third parties are going to see the value in releasing a port for the Switch, which is why Bethesda's now doing Doom Eternal at the Switch at the same time as the actual other as the other consoles. They've now proven value to third parties, to indies, saying, hey, if you release, like, a lot of indie games that come out on the Switch, they, on the Twitters of the developers, they say like, oh yeah, the Switch is outselling like anything we've ever done on PC because
that's what I've heard too.
Console.
A lot of
I don't know specific games, but
one of them was, what was that Wind Waker game? The one that was like Wind Waker. Freaking it's on the tip of my Oceanhorn. Oceanhorn sold absolute best on the Switch than any other platform.
Yeah.
Combined, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. And the fact that we're in the middle of, like, I think we've talked about it before on a separate podcast, maybe in like a actual in-person conversation, but there used to be, AAA, AA, kind of like mid-sized studios, and then indie developers. And that was the three. Yeah. Jorgen Born says
Bjorn Hansen,
Blossom Tale sold 20 times the amount it did on Steam on Switch, which is crazy. And that means that there's now a market for indie games and for third party and for Nintendo. But the problem is they're currently putting the resources in to make games now that are going to come out later. So we have to deal with the fact that they're coming out later, not now.
And it's the fact that there's another thing. A lot of people, I was talking about this on Twitter, I think another big problem that's lying with this year is that Nintendo's doing absolutely nothing to get us excited about the future. Like, not the near future. They already got that covered with Smash Bros. And Pokemon, but like nothing beyond. We didn't see a lick of Metroid Prime 4 or Bayonetta 3 at E3. We still don't know if there's an Animal Crossing game. Where's Pikmin 4? We know it's coming. Where is it? Like, you can give PlayStation all kinds of shit in the world for just announcing stuff way too soon. I think yeah, they do a lot of wrong things when it comes to that. But at the same time, they get people excited. Like, at the same time, you can't wait too long you can't pull a Kingdom Hearts 3. You shouldn't do that again. But people were talking about Kingdom Hearts 3 for years and years after that. Yeah. And Nintendo, I know they have this thing right now where they don't want to announce games too soon. But at the same time, you have to do more to keep your current Switch owners excited. You can't get them to sell their Switch. I have friends who've sold their Switches because 2018's just been nothing for them. Nothing interests them at all. And a lot of people got on me for saying the Switch is getting practically nothing this year. You should have known, that of course was an oversimplification. Of course there's stuff coming out, but like I said, compared to last year, it's not even a close comparison. And we have to wait until December for Smash, and we have to wait until, and then of course there's Pokemon Let's Go, which a lot of people are just not feeling right now. It comes off as very handholdy and just lacks polish as of right now. I saw a video of a Pokemon Let's Go battle, and the animations are just god awful. Like, they don't even, like, you remember the Pokemon Stadium days, all these great animations that would go into a simple attack, and all you see in the Pokemon Let's Go is the 3D model of Pikachu going, and then
I've seen that. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Which I don't know if that's if it's not finished yet or if that's the final build.
I
doubt it's the final build.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they're probably going to add in more stuff because that doesn't seem like Nintendo to release that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, with that level of, like, just like simple animations instead of like going all out like they usually do with the polish. I think
Let's hope.
I think it's easy to like see on Twitter and Reddit and stuff, because let's be honest, Pokemon Go was a huge success despite it being almost nothing like the Pokemon games.
Mm-hmm.
Despite a lot of people on Reddit and Twitter and like YouTube saying, well, it's really just like a walking game. Like it's not even, it's like a VR, but not VR, but AR, but not AR. Like, Pokemon ripoff that Nintendo barely even made. Yet the success of it is still, I think, going on to this today. Like I had managers like 2 years ago at places I worked that were playing it, that are still playing it today, or I still see them on their phone, like, like catching Pokemon. And I'm like, holy shit, is Pokemon Go still like, good?
It still
A
is.
lot of people aren't the Reddit critics that you see where, as soon as a company like offers DLC, the game is trash, the developer is trash, and then the game goes on to sell like millions of copies. And you're like, well, where's everyone that, that the people who buy a copy don't show up to talk about what they think of the company. They just, oh, the game's out, I'm gonna go get it. I think this crap, I almost forgot what I was gonna talk about. I think the success of shoot, dang it,
the success of what
what was I talking about? Like the quality. Like I think Pokemon Let's Go Pokemon is gonna do really well because it's a more casual game. It's a more casual Pokemon game. And I think
smack dab before Black Friday.
Yeah, and I think if they do a bundle, or even if they just say, okay, the game's out now, every Pokemon fan that isn't on Reddit or Twitter is gonna be like, oh, sweet, new Pokemon game, and then it's gonna go buy it. It'll sell a couple million copies, if not become a really best-selling copy,
if not billions.
Yeah, if not, yeah. And it'll move Switch units because people are like, oh, there's a handheld Nintendo console with a Pokemon game on it. I need it immediately. Like every single Pokemon game sells really well. Even the Sun and Moon, which I didn't think were all that amazing.
Yeah, no,
still did numbers. So I don't know. It's Moa in the chat says, I'm pissed about Spider-Man's DLC 2. The new Spider-Man, which I think I don't know. It feels weird to announce DLC before a game comes out, but
I'm just so used to that right now. Companies do that all the time. I'm numb to it at this point.
Like, didn't Zelda announce, did Zelda announce? Didn't Nintendo announce that Breath of the Wild was getting a season pass before the game came out?
Yeah, like 2 weeks before launch, and I'm like, guys, calm down. It's $20. It's optional. You don't need to frickin' buy it. Calm down. And it's like, I played the expansion pass. It was fine, but it wasn't necessary.
Yeah, like it's all right. I mean, it is what it is. Anything to support a Zelda game, because it was a good DLC because it was separate from the main game, had no semblance on the story. It was just an extra little, a little extra nugget of, oh, if you want this, come buy this, and you're like, oh, I want that, I will buy that. Give me, and then
$20, and that's nothing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a whole new, like, not a whole new campaign, but it's it's extra, it's unnecessary, which is, I think, is what DLC needs to be. It needs to be unnecessary, but it needs to be like, oh, I want that extra level, I want those extra game modes. Sure, I'll put down $20 for that extra stuff. But yeah, I think yeah, it sucks that we're not getting a lot of AAA games. Like I would have hoped for an Animal Crossing announcement by now. I would have hoped for at least Metroid Prime gameplay at some point. But they did announce like last year that they were starting development on Metroid Prime 4. All we can
They
hope
never
for is that,
said that they first started. They just said that it was in development.
which is
So
true.
I feel like they've been in pre-production, whatever that is, in game development. But yeah,
All I know is when I see a game company announce a game by revealing a CGI logo and that's it, they've barely started. Like that's how most game companies like. They're like, oh, we need to drum up some hype. Go into
well,
After
they
Effects
did
and
that
go.
with Smash the same year it's coming out.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah,
It's you just can't predict Nintendo when it comes to that. They do what they want, and
yeah. And I won't say that they're doing great this year, and I won't say that I'm kind of hurt that the way they've treated the Nintendo. Because let's be honest, you have followed Nintendo for a long time. You've been a fan of theirs for a long time.
mhm,
You supported them through the Wii U, which even I didn't do. Like
mhm.
you've shown them a lot of support. I think you even bought a 3DS before it dropped in price.
I
Or did you
got
buy it?
it. It was a Christmas. It was a birthday present. So no.
Yeah. It was, yeah, but still, you were
Mhm,
having you were rocking the 3DS years before I even
mhm.
thought of picking one up.
Yeah.
Like you've been all in it, and despite that, they've had some lackluster years where the directs were like, oh look, Animal Crossing Happy Home Designer and board game and stuff, and we're like, where's the Animal Crossing?
Where's
Where's
the
the Zelda?
meat?
Yeah, where's the beef?
These are just mashed potatoes in comparison.
So it sucks that this is what's going on.
Mhm,
But if I were a business, if I were Nintendo, and I don't know much about their financials because I know they only release like sales numbers and general ideas of what's going on. Um, but it sounds like they had to figure out a strategy fast to get this new console to sell a lot of numbers quick so that they can set a platform up to then make money down the line.
mhm.
And they've done it. They have 20 million Switches out there that can now it's now going to support a really thriving indie market. It's going to support companies bringing past games to the current console. And I won't say that like it's good to have only ports or that ports are great additions to a system, but it
Mhm.
never sucks to have a quality past game join a mobile console, being the first of its kind. It doesn't
Yeah.
suck to have it.
Yeah.
It won't replace new games.
Exactly. That's the thing. A lot of people think I'm against indies or I'm against ports and remasters. Absolutely not. You can like something, but also be critical about it at the same time. A lot of people don't understand that. And this is coming from the biggest Wii U apologist back in those days when the Wii U was around. And now the one time I'm actually deciding maybe I should stop apologizing for Nintendo and actually be critical. Now I'm the bad guy. So this is kind of just boggling my mind for
And again,
one.
I'll take this minute to talk.
Yeah.
I mean, there's only 5 people watching, but leave Joey alone. Please don't. This is the conversation about video games. Video games in the end game don't matter as much as you think they do.
Mhm.
They're but we're talking about a corporate company that seeks to make money and that's it. And
Yeah.
that's what Nintendo is. Though Nintendo makes some great products, and you can have like you could be emotionally attached to a company and be like, they've made games that I've played for years. I support them. But at the end of the day, you're giving them money for a product. If you don't want to, if you're critical or if you don't think that they're, yeah, Super
Super
Gaming says,
gaming over
leave
here.
Joey alone.
Leave Britney alone. You know, I've been getting a lot of flack though. First of all, thank you for defending me on that. But my friend Dreamcast guy, our girlfriend Max, he's the one that's been taking all the blows because he's got way more followers than me, and everyone's just coming at him like, "You're an idiot. We got Super Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild last year. What more do you want?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you got it last year. Where are
Yeah.
those games right now?" And even if you it's okay if you don't have the games right now, but you need to do something to get us excited about the future. This
Yeah.
where in the problem really, really lies.
Yeah.
You cannot deny that Nintendo's not doing much to keep people engaged in their current system right now. Yes, indies are fan freaking tastic. But then you got the casual brohams that are just like, nah, it's all about Wolfenstein. It's all about the Dooms. It's all about the Marios. and it's just like you're not doing.
Come on, where's Neck 2, baby?
Where's Knack 3 Switch exclusive? Come on, Nintendo. Jesus Christ. And it's just, yeah, we're going.
And I honestly think that I think Nintendo messed up. But what I think and what's been getting me through this kind of like lack of games from Nintendo from the first parties is that I think this was the I think this is a
Is it what?
I saw your question marks. I'm like, what? I think this was if Infinity War there was like 14 million futures and there's only one where they succeed. I think there were two possible outcomes. One of them was we get the Switch later and we get more games later. And I think like if we were in that alternate future where Nintendo was like, okay, we're not going to release these games until they're ready. We're going to amass this collection of games that we can release and release the Switch in 2018, which they probably would have had they not been like, pushed like, oh, we got to release a console now, which is why the Switch has like, the kickstand that's kind of like weirdly designed. Why the USB port is at the bottom, so you can't charge it while it's standing up.
Well, I couldn't think of anything else, anywhere else they could have put it, to be honest.
Yeah, that's true.
It would have looked weird on the side, I think. I don't know.
That was there, so there's no point. There's nowhere you had to do that.
Exactly. But they came out that neat little $20 kickstand. Oof, I got that thing, and it's just like not only does it charge your Switch while it's in tabletop mode, but it's a better kickstand for the Switch.
Yeah,
you can adjust in multiple angles. And to acknowledge Super Gaming in the comments, saying that the thing that Dreamcast guy was the reason why people are coming at Dreamcast guy is because he was being rude about it. He was blaming indie developers for being uncreative, for working in an art style that is in their scope. He's not blaming the indie developers. He's blaming Nintendo for just throwing all of these indies at us with the same art style, which isn't the fault of the indie developers, but the fault of Nintendo sending this mesh. The thing about the indie highlights reel from Gamescom was that it was way more diverse than the games it was showing. There was a lot of games in many different art styles. They should have carried some of them over to the Nindies showcase the week after. It would have been a way better showing. And that's what I liked about the first Nindies showcase. So many different games in many different styles. And it's just like when you see a lot of indie games that have the same pixelated art style, it's just like, I'm getting kind of bored. It's as if Sony had an E3 conference with nothing but first-person shooters. Like, maybe there might be one or two really good first-person shooters, but in the end, it's just like, if the console has nothing but FPSs, it's just like, I'm bored already. This is the case for like every genre, which is also another reason why everyone's throwing at me these JRPGs. And it's just like, JRPGs are cool, but way too many. And Super, you're clearly not listening if you're going to comment that, but whatever.
We love you, Kyle.
We love you, Kyle. Just open your ears.
I was bringing up earlier about that there's like there used to be 3 levels of game developer. There used to be AAA, AA, and then the indies, like, we're making like the super independent, super crappy, like the people that were making the CDI games, like the CDI, like that's what the level of like there's 3 tiers of game developer, and over the years that middle one is kind of separated into the 2 others. So now we have AAA titles and we have indie developers that are slowly growing stronger. And I think I brought this up on an earlier podcast, but I think that, like I'm saying now, the Nintendo success from Zelda and Mario Odyssey, that money is going to be put now into resources that'll develop games now that are going to come out later. So we're going to have a great future for the Switch, I believe. Unfortunately, that we just have to suffer with few first-party games now. But it's the same thing with the indie developers. The Switch is a great console for indies. Like, again, like we were saying earlier, some of these developers are making 20 times the sales they've ever made on the Steam on Switch.
Sorry, my keyboard's very loud.
I'm sorry. That's going to translate into a lot of like indie developers making a lot of bank later on down the road, which helps them grow, which then helps them become the middle tier AA developers that we used to have. And I think that's where they're going to grow, is from the indie category, from all these. Juan says, have you ever popped a cherry?
Fucking I don't even, what? I have lupus.
I have scurvy. Leave me alone. I think we're going to get a lot more AA developers in the near future, like the developers of FTL making Into the Breach. It's like not a bigger scope game, but it's like we're getting more games, more creative stuff from these developers. Eventually, they're going to get to the point where they're making like what was the game? Red Faction Guerrilla Remastered, like those kind of tier, like, Xbox 360 level.
I think that's also coming to Switch, from what I've heard.
Is it coming to Switch?
Let me check. Red Faction Switch. By Red Faction Guerrillas Remastered, blah, blah, blah. Why is there no, I heard wrong.
Not exactly that game, but I think we're going to get a better increase in quality from indie developers on the Switch because of the resources they're going to get from making games that are coming out now. Like, I'm really looking forward to whatever Motion Twin, the developers of Dead Cells, is going to do next. Because obviously they're going to release something on the Switch later on down the line, with the success we've seen now.
Dead Cells, man.
Yeah,
I love that game so much.
I want to marry it. No. And I want Philip to cover it.
Ouch. Damn. Void topic. No.
Sorry.
Don't say his name. It gives him power. He who must not be named. But, I guess I'm a hypocrite for liking Dead Cells and The Messenger, and excited that A Hat in Time is coming to Switch when I never said I hate indie games.
Yeah, you never said that.
None of us are. None of us
wanting more first-party games. As, aren't you happy with what we got now? Which I'm happy. I'm kind of happy with what we're getting. Though I see your point, which is why I agree. I agree with you to some extent. Yeah, Super Gaming says Dead Cells is good though. Yeah, it is really, really good. I got to the High Castle, and I died to a random fucking like standard green
zombie,
and I was
dude.
like, damn it.
No, and then I learned last night the hard way. Oh, hey, that guy that took you so many times to beat the concierge? Gotta fight him again.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're killing me.
You know how long it took me to figure out you can roll? Oh my god. I'm kidding.
You didn't know you could roll? Please tell me you knew how to roll.
No, I know.
Okay, cool.
It's just gonna be a wait until the resources line up with the timeline of games coming out, because obviously Nintendo's not gonna like sit on the money that they made from Zelda and from Mario and all the games that have come out so far and go, yeah, okay, we're just gonna maybe release another like best-selling title in maybe 3 years. Like, they're not gonna wait. They're gonna invest the money now. It just is gonna be a little while till we see the results of that. Which then again, they could have paced it and released, launch with Zelda, release Mario Kart like 4 months later, then release ARMS 2 months later, and then Splatoon 2 the beginning of this year, and then launch it and then wait and kind of delay it so it pads out. But then they would have risked people losing interest the way they did with the Wii U, like after a couple years of not getting a Zelda game or not getting a Sandbox Mario.
And then Yearn said, I do a lot of commuting. I've been playing Dead Cells, Hollow Knight, Steam. What WD2? What is that? Remind me what that is. Celeste and many more indie games to help me loads this year, and they're often better on the go. Yeah, indie games are great on the Switch, and I'm saying that. But I also, like I said, I also just want more. Like, yeah, maybe I'm selfish. Maybe just being a complete SteamWorld D2. I thought so. Steam WD2. All right, there we go.
SteamWorld D. Okay, yeah.
I thought so. I thought so.
Moa said, please tell me how to pronounce your username. I feel like 2019 is going to be a great year for the Switch. I feel like the Japanese third parties are going to announce a bunch of stuff, ports and new stuff. I honestly think I think 2019 is going to be an amazing year for the Switch.
It better make up for this year. Like, seriously, like Nintendo, it's your job to keep us happy. So fucking do it. It's just like people always like, I get it that right now I need to quote unquote be patient. First of all, I fucking hate it when people tell me to be patient. Second of all, we kind of still have a right to be upset that things are dry right now. Let people be unhappy. How hard is that to understand?
Yeah, don't leave Joey alone.
Don't leave Joey alone. Yeah, people come at me just you can keep coming at me listing games, dude. You're not going to change my mind. I'm just saying, do you expect me to just all of a sudden, oh, come to my senses? Everything's okay. No, because at the end of the day, I'm going to be playing my PS4 and PC most of the rest of the year. Like when, like, yeah, I'll still. What was that?
That's a good point. I'm sorry. You go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
All right. I saw a comment from Bjorn, Jorgen Bjorn, earlier. He said, "I think Nintendo knows that the Switch is people's second console, and that autumn/winter slot is oversaturated like hell this year." Which I can now that I've heard now that you bring that up, we are getting there's a lot of games coming out the end of this year for like other consoles. Like maybe I don't know about Xbox, but I know PS4 is getting Red Dead, which I think Xbox
that's
is getting
PS4
Red Dead
and
too.
Xbox. Yeah, they're both getting Red Dead.
Yeah, but there's the Spider-Man's coming out. Like holy crap, there's a lot of big games coming out for other consoles. Maybe Nintendo knows that by releasing it, it's gonna it's gonna hurt their sales when they could just wait until the games come out and then Nintendo comes out with Smash and then Nintendo comes out with Pokemon.
Yeah,
Again,
I've thought of that too.
Because I think, like, honestly, I think for both of us, we have PS4s and Switches.
Yeah, we do.
And PCs. So we're pretty, like, we have stuff to do on the other consoles while the Switch has no games. While I would love for Animal Crossing to be out right now and for me to be able to, pay my debt to Tom Nook immediately. I know that's going to be a while till that comes out. But whenever it comes out, I'm always blown away by how much more stuff they add. And I've never been disappointed by Animal Crossing. Except maybe the Happy Home Designer, but
that's not even an Animal Crossing game.
that's a Happy Home Designer game with an Animal Crossing skin over.
Exactly, that's exactly what it is.
So, but, and Mo says, to be honest, I am a little pissed. The first half of 2018 was a little thin. Dark Souls on Switch though, delayed later though.
That was what really.
I can see that's where you'd be mad if like a game like that is announced and then they're like, oh yeah, it's gonna come out later.
Not only just that, they announced.
Is it still slated for this year though?
It's slated for October when everything else is coming out.
Oh.
Right,
and it lines up with a new trilogy launch they're gonna do.
The same exact day.
Yeah,
that's
there's
just
an article on TheFridge.com. You can check that out. I wrote that.
I wrote it. Don't tell me. Yes, I was the one who wrote the article. But yeah, I think that's also what really got me about this year when Dark Souls was delayed. I'm just like, okay, what else you got for the Switch in 2018? Yeah. Oh, no more Yoshi. That would have been a great August or September game. No.
I mean,
what about Fire?
A pretty decent Kirby game.
It was decent with
but I mean,
in the most.
Kirby's not exactly a Mario tier IP. It's big. Kirby's an awesome character. There's not a lot of I mean, it's a Kirby game. It's not gonna break any molds. It's gonna be a platformer with you can eat enemies and take their abilities. Like,
but even for a Kirby game, it wasn't even that great. Like I was playing Return to Dreamland before Star Allies came out, and I loved Dreamland a hell of a lot more than Star Allies, like by a lot. And
really,
yeah, and then Mario Tennis Aces, everyone, I don't know, like Mario, I'm sure Mario Tennis Aces is fun, and I say that like I did a review of it on the Commonwealth Realm, yes, but I was in the middle of a Europe trip, couldn't capture footage, and my oh my, I was just so done with Mario Tennis. I was like, this game, the campaign mode's boring, it's repetitive, and it's just like, it's only fun when you have friends over, really. It's just not that exciting.
And I think the power system was criticized. It was like, it was like min-maxed to the point where you had to use it to win.
That's exactly what it was. And I don't even think you could play like a normal game of tennis. Like you couldn't turn the powers off. You always had to use them.
Yeah, that kind of sucks.
Yeah, and it's also like during the campaign mode, if you fail a mission, it automatically brings you back to the menu. You can't just simply hit retry. You have to go back to the menu.
They did add that though. The new patch. They've actually added some features. Yeah, they added in some features. So it's not the same. And I think they've noticed that, okay, there's some features we missed that we're going to add in now. Which sucks that they had to do it after the fact, but anything is better than nothing. But again, everything would have been nicer than something.
Yeah. Yearn asked us, do we think the Switch online feature will surprise us? Perhaps some games we didn't think about. I don't think so at all. I think Nintendo's...
Go ahead. Sorry.
No,
No,
that's right.
you go.
All right. I think Nintendo is just putting out the Switch Online service because they feel like it's an obligation. I don't think they give two shits about like trying to make this like a good feature or anything. They're just doing it because everyone else is doing it, really, which, Nintendo's never really done. Everyone else is doing it because, if they did that, we'd have voice chat. But
there is voice chat in Fortnite, but it's through Epic Game servers, so it doesn't really count.
I don't get why they don't just take.
Well, it's because they're a kid console, and they can't have adults calling kids the F word and
the N word, and
because that's not what Nintendo's about. They're about family inclusiveness, and
yet
they
the
want
Wii U
parents
had
to know
voice
that.
chat.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't get it at all. Wii U had voice chat on most games, except for like Splatoon 2 and Splatoon 1 and stuff like that. I don't expect much from Switch Online at all. A lot of people were saying, Smash is going to come out the same month as Switch Online, and I'm like, keep dreaming. Like, oh my god, everyone thought that was just. I love being right, but. Then Radish and Cougar asked, what do you guys think about Science Entertainment quitting drunk live stream? I don't even know what that question is. I don't know who Science Entertainment is. Do you know who that is?
Someone who's had alcohol before. Being drunk is not as fun as everyone makes it out to be.
Yeah, it's not.
I can't imagine having to also live stream and follow rules and not be banned from whatever site you're streaming on while being drunk. So good for him.
Yeah, probably a smart move. Or them.
I've never heard of them, but yeah,
I've never heard of them either.
It's like I don't know. Etika can do it, but he gets banned from Twitch whenever he tries to stream.
All the time.
Yeah.
The time.
I think we all remember the nutsack sandwich debacle, where he was like so drunk that he was like, "You guys want me to give you a nutsack sandwich?" And like Twitch, like someone donated like $500. He just started staring. He just started staring at the camera like as if he was gonna do it. And I was like, "I'm clicking out. Goodbye."
As Dave Chappelle once said, they shouldn't have given you bitches money. He didn't say the B word, but
Yeah, we're gonna end that. We're gonna end that before
we get banned. What are you opening up on your notepad?
It happened to PewDiePie. It can happen to you.
That's very true, and we're twins, so yeah. It's just like every white guy with a beard is just PewDiePie. It happens. But any closing thoughts before we end this stream? Any closing thoughts to this debate?
I think had to make a lot of tough decisions, and I think unfortunately we're still dealing with the fact that there's not a lot of a lot of first party games coming out on the Switch. I think it'll get better. I think we waited for Zelda. We waited for big games to come out on the Wii U, or you did, and we've done our waiting. I think Nintendo's not going to disappoint. The Switch Online, I don't know if it's going to be I don't think it's going to be groundbreaking. I doubt they're going to do away with friend codes. I would love that to happen. If they do it, I will eat a sock. That's where I close my statement.
Eat that sock. I mean, it's easier to eat a sock than a Joy-Con. Yeah, my closing statements are as follows. And let me just here. Just kidding, I can't do that. But man, I have a debate tomorrow with Player Essence, so that ought to be fun.
Oh, and I saw. So I will be watching.
You will be watching. Yeah.
If you need to phone a friend, let me know, and I'll be like.
Hold on. Super Gaming says he's back. Ooh. Is he able to join us real quick? Let his words out because I want to know.
He said, "How about some Xbox?" So we're gonna end the stream there. We're gonna have a good day.
Exactly. Hold on. I do want to see if he wants to say anything before we head out.
I still remember that I called. I said Halo was the most underrated of the Call of Duty spinoffs. He was like, "Shut the fuck up."
Shut the fuck up. What was it? Penn and Teller. Such a good show. You ever watch Penn and Teller's bullshit?
I did. It was good.
Oh, so good.
I love them. I want to see them live if they ever perform. I want to go to Vegas to see them perform. So hopefully that'll happen eventually.
Yeah. Is Kyle still on the train? Jesus, I'm still thinking we don't.
Before we go, Moe says I have again. Tell me how to pronounce your username. I want to know how to pronounce it.
He's probably not going to.
And PC at the moment want to get a PS4 for Spider-Man and Red Dead and a ton of other stuff. I'm still checking up on games I missed. in 2017, so I'm not too worried about 2018 for the Switch. I can see again that's a good point for people that are gonna start the Switch, because though for us we've had the Switch like for over a year now. I picked mine up launch day,
So did I.
which I didn't decide to do that until the night before. I was like, you know what, I'll wake up at 5 a.m. and bike over to Target and see if I can pick one up. Third in line. So
me and Alan were the same way. We were gonna stay up at GameStop all night, like in line, because we really wanted to switch, because we thought, oh hey, if they're gonna treat this anything like the NES Classic, it's gonna be impossible to find. And then we decided, probably not. So we stayed the night at his house, went there at 7 a.m., first in line.
There you go.
First in line. I did not think it was possible, but it was. We got our Switches and we're happy. But right now I'm just like, there's a drought and I'm feeling it hard. Like I'm feeling the thirst, and I just want to play games like Tomb Raider, like Spider-Man, like we not even just first party, but like AAA third party games as well, AAA second party, AAA first party. I'm cutting loose. Like, what am I saying? I'm covering all bases here. I'm not just talking about first and third. It's just.
Which I know there were rumors of a Switch Pro, because we know the Switch is not as powerful as the consoles that are coming out. I mean, Nintendo's never released a console on par with its competition,
except for the GameCube.
Except for the GameCube, yeah, which was stronger than the PS2, which showed in some games like Resident Evil. Let's be honest, graphics don't always matter. But I think the third parties aren't as good with optimization the way Nintendo is. Nintendo's very, very good about making everything out of nothing. Like, have you seen the file size for like Mario Odyssey? Like, that game is under a couple gigabytes, like at all. It's barely anything. It's amazing, and that's only because Nintendo knows how to optimize it. Third parties don't really know how to optimize as well. And I feel
that's why they get Panic Button to do it for them.
Yeah. That's why they get Panic Button and Bluepoint to do all the ports for them.
Bluepoint doesn't do zilch for anyone except PlayStation right now.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, right. They did that amazing Shout the Colossus remaster.
That's amazing. Masterpiece.
It's a masterpiece.
But I think we're gonna get sorry, I'm trying to regain my thought. Something Dark Side. Yeah, I think Xbox and PS4, those have 8 gigabytes of RAM each, but the OS uses like I think 2 or 3 gigabytes, so it's only 5 gigabytes of RAM.
That's exactly what it is.
And even some of those games, like Bloodborne, definitely does not keep 60 frames per second on Switch. Barely on even not Switch.
I know what you
mean. Developers aren't as good as Nintendo when it comes to optimization. So 4 gigabytes with one already devoted to the OS is already like going to be a problem for developers making games. So that's why they have to like downgrade their stuff, which is why it's going to be a slower trickle of third-party games. But once they realize, oh, we can port the games with like at a 720p 30 frames per second with like medium level graphics to the Switch, we'll get more Dooms, we'll get more Wolfensteins. It's going to take some time for developers to figure out, okay, we just need a workflow to port our games over, and then we can release them simultaneously. And with the Switch gaining more and more unit sales, like over time, with the Smash pushing it all the way up, with Pokemon selling units, it's going to be amazing to see how much more the Switch is going to grow. And that's going to incentivize more and more. And I think as they snowball, it's going to get better for everyone. So
that's for sure. It's just like
Moa says, sorry, I feel like this is the closest thing we're going to get to a drought for the Switch, which I agree.
Fucking hope so. Like you could argue like this drought is temporary, just be patient, but it still sucks. Like it sucks, quit denying that it doesn't suck right now. Honestly, people just leave me alone.
Do not deny the suck is what I want you to take away.
The Zuck. Mark Zuckerberg.
The Zuck. It's Moe. Okay, Moe.
Mwah. Very good. It took you long enough to tell us how to pronounce the fucking thing.
It's been an hour.
It's been a while.
That was my closing thoughts. I completely forgot the Switch Pro, which is that rumor I think that Marcus reported on a while ago about the Switch Pro coming out in 2019. I don't know
I don't buy
how.
it. Don't tell them, but I don't buy it one bit.
I don't know if it's gonna happen. I know Nintendo does Nintendo's known for releasing revisions. They did
Yeah.
that with 3DS like crazy.
They did that with the DS too, like crazy. Jesus Christ, how many DSs they came out with?
DS, DS Lite, DSi, DSi XL, 3DS, 3DS XL, new 3DS XL,
New
even
3DS XL and Knuckles.
featuring Dante for the Devil May Cry series. Like, holy shit!
Dude, I hear they're making a new Devil May Cry game. What?
Oh my god!
Is it
Does
going
it
to
feature
feature?
Knuckles?
No.
Do you mean if you play 20 matches at 3 stocks at 2 minutes each and you win, you get Ganondorf for Smash Bros. 64?
Yes, that's exactly what happened. Amazing.
So yeah, I think I don't know if a Switch Pro is gonna happen, but if it does, it'll cause some problems in terms of how the games play because you have to
Yeah.
design to work on all consoles. So that might hurt. That might hurt the Switch and like it might divide it up. And plus, the Switch already has a problem with the cartridges, like the cartridge tax, as they say, where games cost more because you have to put them on a flash cartridge, and people are opting for the 8 GB cartridge for all the games. So some companies are like making you download the extra data, like Wolfenstein and I think Mega Man or something had another. Oh, LA Noire.
LA Noire, yeah, that was a big one. I think I need to uninstall that shit because I haven't played LA Noire in so long.
Lenoir, as I call it.
Lenoir, haha. I'm gonna name my daughter that.
Lenoir Ferris.
Lenoir, substitute
you met my
teacher.
daughter, Lenoir.
All right, I'm still trying to invite Kyle to the call because he's having trouble. He's still on the train, but you know, I've seen podcasts where people join when they're at the airport. So you know, yeah, see. Thank you guys for still joining us. This is a lot of fun. Thank you, Jorn, for joining us. A lot of fun having you. I hung out with him in Norway. He's a very great guy. He runs the Retro Spill Messen, which is the most popular retro game convention in Northern Europe. So yeah, he's kind of a big deal.
Well, good to have you. Good to have you here, Morgan. Thank you for being here, and thank you, Moe, for being here. Thank you. Who's a Ration Cougar?
So many weird names.
Juan Cena. Oh, I get it.
I get it too. What?
I couldn't see it, just like their actual John Cena.
Dun, 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 dun. The Moe. There we go. Those are baseless rumors. Plus, it doesn't make a sense. Revision is happening, and I think the earliest it would happen is late 2019. I don't even think it's happening next year. I think that's happening in 2020. And like you said, this revision is not going to fix the third-party problems. It's because.
Oh, sorry. Hjorgen says, "Hey, that's not me. Haha, I'm the guy from San Francisco with Odyssey and the Rome meetup."
Sorry, wrong, Jan. I got it mixed up. Yeah. Yes. Sorry, there's both European Jans. I get confused. But yes, oh my God, that was funny. He had Super Mario Odyssey when and we were trying to get a review copy of it while we were in San Francisco. Like, the fact that we were in San Francisco was a coincidence, but Nintendo America wouldn't send us one until launch day. And then we were sharing a hotel with Yarn, and Kyle's here.
Hey.
What's up?
Yeah, and then we had lunch with him in Rome. That was fun. Yeah, sorry about that, Yarn. Don't get offended. I'm bad with names, please. Come on, ride the train and ride it. Choo choo. Let it. Speak
Let me know if the sound is too much.
We can understand you. Just tell me why I'm wrong, Kyle. Tell me why I'm wrong about everything.
About what specifically? I could tell you about why you're wrong about Trump, why you're wrong.
Damn. That was bad. But no, you disagree with me on this Nindies thing, obviously. So tell me why I'm wrong. Tell me why I'm wrong. Go ahead.
No, I don't think you're inherently wrong. I think you're perfectly fine feeling the way you do, and that's totally okay. I disagree though. That's all. Like, especially when you and Dreamcast guy have said about like that you're tired of like the same art style over and over. Well, the pixel art style and the cell shaded low poly art style is the easiest accessible way to make for these indie developers of 1 to 5 man teams to make a game. And so because I'm making these games, I get a little perturbed when people are super critical of that. It's a soft spot, it's a personal spot, and I totally understand that. So I don't ever get like high and mighty, like, how dare you speak that way? Yeah. I did quote you, by the way. Nintendo is responsible for making us happy. Joey Ferris, 2018.
Damn, son. Kill yourself. But the thing is, I'm not dissing the art style and like using it. I'm dissing the fact that Nintendo decides to announce all these games at once that have that similar art style. It's not the fault of the developer, it's the fault of the messenger. That's a game that just came out with the pixelated art style.
I totally get that criticism, but I think you yourself even made the analogy of like shooters, or was that someone else? I think you were making the analogy of shooters. Like, it is becoming just not that it's a genre, but a style that is just so common. We're seeing so much of it. Think of battle royales, where you're just getting so many battle royales right now because that's what's selling. People love these easy to play.
Ladies and gentlemen.
People love these easy to play, easy to look at art styles. So indie developers know, like, well, I can make that. It's easy to that's easy to make for me. That's accessible at least. So I'm gonna go with that. And so like so many people are doing that specific thing. Mm-hmm. And so to us it feels like, okay, well, that's all they're announcing. Well, in actuality, I feel like it's just because there's so much. It's not that that's all they're announcing. What was that cat game? That wasn't really a quirky pixel art game, you know?
I'm trying to think of the cat game. Oh yeah, the one with the bear and the art.
Right. The Untitled Goose Game, which looks so good. Oh man, I'm so excited for that.
I'm so excited.
And just losing his mind over here. Jesus Christ. I talked to one of the developers about that game back at Day of the Devs last year, but I never uploaded the interview. Whoops. Now would be a good time.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, like, I think we're getting a little worn out. Like, I think, because, like, sure, like, to an extent, I'm like, okay, well, this game is yet another pixel art game. I could get that criticism, you know? Mm-hmm. I get that. But I don't. So if you're saying that it's not the fault of the developers, it's the fault of Nintendo, I can understand that more. Before it seemed as though you were super critical of the developers.
Well, fuck indie developers for one. They think they are all that. But no, this is my whole thing is against Nintendo. Like, I know I'm against Nintendo. What? No. That never happens.
How about some Xbox, boys?
Yes, hop on. We're dropping on that Destiny 2 free on PlayStation Plus.
That is such a good deal.
That is a game for the price of
Daddy Sakurai. I swear to God.
Say anything about Daddy Sakurai, he's gonna cut your finger off. I don't know. Just the ring finger, it's fine, you know. Fuck all the haters. I'm getting married, but other than that, I pretty much think we've covered all bases of this debate. Didn't really call it a debate. We all agree with something.
Yeah.
We all found a common ground, so no one has to drop the metaphorical broken in half pool cue on the ground and say,
"Right, tryouts." Tomorrow, I'm having that debate with Player Essence, and I have a feeling he's going to be a lot less understanding.
Well, you never know.
You never know. He's having a debate tonight with somebody, so I'm going to tune in on that and see what exactly I'm dealing with. I was following him on Twitter just because he's always on the Spawncast, but I've never really caught an episode with him because I always work when there's a Spawncast. But he was ready to fucking fight people on Twitter over this. And it's just wow, this dude needs to fucking chill.
I think Andres hit it on the head perfectly earlier when he was saying in the end, they're video games. They're not as important as you think they are. While they're near and dear to our hearts for lots of reasons, it's not the end of the world if they're doing something we disagree with. Just like you said, there's Spider-Man coming out in a week. We're gonna be busy. I would say Smash Brothers, the only game for the rest of the year that would actually get me to not play Spider-Man. You know, like, and that even goes for Red Dead. Like, if they launch day on the same day, I would still be playing Spider-Man. Like, it's just something you got to deal with. And I think Anders is right again when he was saying that Nintendo knows that these games, big blockbuster games, are coming out. So, like, why would they release all of their games that they are like, you know, they're releasing their big one, like Smash Brothers. It's a really big deal. So focus on that one because they know that one is going to sell no matter what.
Yeah, but then you still have those people wondering, what about the other games? What about Fire Emblem? What about Yoshi? What about
I don't give a crap. I got my Fox McCloud coming in October. I don't need anything else.
I don't need this shit. Fuck Samus. Fuck Bayonetta. Yoshi's a green ass can just go to hell. Oh my god.
But have you played it?
I haven't. I want to though. She's so good. It's so good. But let's hope for a Nintendo Direct this coming month. Please answer my questions.
Which I really liked your video about that today, by the way.
Oh, thank you. We did that ourselves. Well, we always do. We're kind of that thing right there. See that?
Hey, what's that?
Hey, what's that? I don't know. But yeah, I think we can just close it off here and just call it a podcast because we've been talking about this for an hour and a half, and I'm getting hot in here. Thank you so much for joining us on Nowhere, Kyle, on that train. Let us know where we can find you.
Sorry, I'm in the train for it.
Let us know where we can find you.
The train?
You can find me on the train, heading from Clearfield to Salt Lake City.
Salt Lake City.
At Super Gaming on all social media, and my channel is also here on YouTube as well.
Very nice. And I was about to call you Alan. There's so many A's. And Andrew. Where can we find
discount
you?
Alan.
Channeling my inner Alan.
Follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/Rodega. You can also stuff is called prequels, but I'm changing it. And then I have a.
Can you like turn your volume up? Is that possible? Because you're very quiet, and it could be just because of, it could just be because of fucking Kyle over here.
Sorry.
Oh, hold on. Here's what I can do. I turned you up.
You can find me on maplestory.com/Rodega.
Damn.
You can also find me. So it's twitter.com/Rodega, pretty much.
Okay, cool. You can find me on Twitter at FerrisWheelPro. You can post all your hate mail on there because, you know, fuck me, right? And you can also find me on YouTube at Common Realm, and hopefully sooner than later, Ferris Wheel Productions. Yeah, that's right. I bought new show lights. It's gonna be lit, fam. It's gonna be lit. I'm turning you down, Kyle. Kill yourself.
It's gonna be litty.
I'll just leave. Bye.
All right, bye. All right, I guess we're done. All right, we're going to stop this broadcast. Thank you guys so much for joining. You can find us on nukethefridge.com and subscribe to us at NTF Games if you haven't already. Like this one person just did. Who was it? Somebody just subscribed to us. Oh, well.
We got some new subscribers, so it would be cool.
It would be very cool if you could. But yes, we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.
See ya.